Women love sports. We love to play them and we love to watch them. You don't have to play a sport to love sports, and you don't have to love sports to play a sport. But for lots of girls and women like me, sports are fun. They can be fun because they're exciting or impressive. They can be a fun way to get exercise. But how you identify or what community you are a part of should not affect whether you are able to enjoy or have access to sports.
It is empowering, I think, for girls to um, develop physical fitness and physical skills in ways that society hasn't always um, provided those avenues or that kind of support.
I think it's very important for girls to have access to sports because it gives us an avenue to have fun, be encouraged, be empowered, feel strength, feel challenged, express maybe some frustrations or anger.
Sports improve confidence, raise self esteem, help develop critical skills, enhance leadership skills, and teach teamwork. They have many benefits for young girls that will remain with them throughout their lifetime. Participating in a sport at a young age helps adults be more successful at their professions later in life, so it's important to encourage and introduce sports to girls at a young age.
Parents really encourage girls to play sports more than they used to. And um, I think even, the idea that a muscular woman, a woman who develops muscles is viewed more positively today than it used to be.
Female athletes deserve the same support and attention as men. And within the past few years and decades, things have improved a lot. Just look at women like Caitlin Clark, Simone Biles, and Serena Williams. These athletes have become household legends and are a big help in the effort to help make women's sports more mainstream. And in a lot of ways, it's working. There are currently professional women's leagues for volleyball, softball, soccer, basketball, hockey, golf, and many more in the US. The 2024 Paris Olympics were the first to have an equal number of male and female athletes. WNBA viewership has gone up by over 50% in the last few years, and viewing of the National Women's Soccer League Championship was up over 200%. Clearly, people are starting to notice, and people are starting to care. Last year, the Women's March Madness National Championship had over 87 million viewerships, which was 3 million more than the men's championship basketball game. Because of the increased attention and viewership, 2025 is the first year the women's teams get paid for playing in the NCAA tournament. The longer they stay in the tournament, the more they can potentially make, up to a total of 15 million. That sounds great for women's sports. Yet, the men's team still have around $200 million to work with, and they've been getting paid for years.
The gap in treatment and respect and resources for girls and boys and women's and men's sports is tremendous. At the college level, at least, and probably high school also, Title IX has said that it has to be equal, and that equity has kind of always been measured in participation numbers. And so adding things like flag football for girls helps bring up the numbers, like the varsity roster spots. And so we can see that in recent decades, participation numbers have become pretty close to equal or equitable, but number of coaches assigned to a team and the skill level and training of those coaches and the resources allocated, the practice facilities, the uniforms, the transportation provided to girls or boys teams is still tremendously unequal. And so I think sports might be the area where it's easiest to highlight really clear inequality.
Clearly, women are still largely overshadowed by men in the world of sports, whether that's pay, media coverage, broadcasting, or general opportunities starting from a young age.
I would say unequal for sure, the pay and salary. I know that women's sports are still growing, so the viewership and subscriber that has a lot to do with income, salary, investment, backers, like all of that. The access to like TV sponsorships, um, also like event spaces or fields specifically for softball. I mean, I don't mind playing on a baseball field or a like AAA field or something. But I know it's just different. It's different playing on like your general softball field, but then having to go play on a baseball field. It's just we shouldn't have to do that for our sport.
Other research shows that media attention increases interest. So, one of the reasons you'll see people arguing that, well, of course, women's sports aren't shown on the media is because they're not as interesting and people don't care. And it's a little bit of a chicken and an egg argument because we know that if the media promotes a sporting event, more people are likely to watch it. And when they watch it, they get interested and they enjoy it and they start to support it. So I'd advocate for more media coverage to help promote women's sports.
40% of teenage girls are not participating in a sport, and only 1 in 3 girls between the ages of 6 and 12 participate in sports on a regular basis. A lot of this is encouragement. Sports need to be presented as a positive thing for girls and never negative. And the best way to motivate girls to play sports is to give them the same amount of opportunities so that they feel more accessible. But equality for women's sports is not just a problem in America, and it's not all about the athletes. According to the Sport Integrity Global Alliance's most recent survey in 2023, only around 26% of executive positions in international sports federations are held by women. Of the 31 international sports federations surveyed, just 3 had women at the helm. And out of 206 National Olympic Committees, only 24 are chaired by women. This issue is not just about athletes and support. If women are going to be respected in the world of sports, then women need to be represented, not just the players, but all of the positions involved in running a league, from coaches to announcers to analytics. A huge part of our problem is the pay gap. For example, NBA stars can make more than $40 million a year, while WNBA players max out at around $250,000. That is a huge difference. But are the male basketball players really that much better just by being men? Something other than pure skill level is in play here, and that's the inequitable foundation ingrained in the origins of sports in general. We need to work together to close that gap and fight for equality in sports. But what will it take? It's great that there's a National Women's Soccer League and a WNBA, but that's the issue. It shouldn't be great. No one thinks it's great for the future of men's sports that the NFL exists. It just exists for our own entertainment. As a society, we need to eliminate the aspect of women's sports that makes it so unappealing. Even if it's subconscious, most people are going to favor the more commonly watched and aired sports, and therefore the men's sports. Yet you hear people like me say, support women's sports. But supporting women's sports should not be a chore. The content itself is just as good, entertaining, and exciting as the content of men's sports. So why does it still need attention? When people tell you to do something, that can make you want to do it less. So when people say watch women's sports, that can make it seem like something you should do as opposed to something you want to do. Clearly, women's sports are not equal to men's. And if we really want to support women's sports, we need to stop wanting to support them and start wanting to enjoy them. What we as a society, a community, and as individuals need to do is have a positive and open mindset. Motivate yourself to watch women's sports and don't just do it out of guilt.
Obviously, watching it and viewing it on TV, phones, computers, but also in person drives up ticket sales with it, which then that also has an effect on like salaries and income. And I think being aware of women's sports, um, and just doing research and understanding who these athletes are, where they come from, watching them from like a grassroots level, like a travel ball team to then college to then pro.
Next time you turn on the TV, put on a women's game for once. It's not a big ask, and it shouldn't be, because women's sports are fun. They are fun to watch, and they deserve attention. All it takes is a small effort of trying something new, and the game will take it from there. If you let yourself enjoy it, the sport will show you just how exciting it can be. If you're a person with young girls in your life, encourage them to try sports. Encourage them to keep trying, even when it's hard, because they may grow to love it. And if they do, that will live with them for the rest of their lives. Women's sports are worth your attention, so I hope you learned what you can do to participate in the effort to grow and expand the opportunities that girls and women should be provided, and be a part of the larger fight for gender equality in sports.